Majumder, for giving us the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you, Amir, for inviting me to this very interesting section of interviews with membrane scientists in Australia. So I'm glad that you are doing this with a lot of different people, different expertise. So thank you very much.
Great, thanks a lot. Let's just start with your bio. Tell us about your background, your journey.
Yeah. So I'm Indian origin, as you can imagine from the name. But after my master's work in India, I went to the United States to pursue a PhD.
So before we get to your PhD, what was your major in undergrad?
So my major was in material science in India. I did my master's from the Indian Institute of Technology, Banaras Hindu University.
And the date was?
2001.
2001 master.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But after my master's, I actually spent a couple of years as a scientist in CSIR labs of India.
Okay.
And in fact, at that time was when I got initiated to membrane science. So it's the institute is called Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute, and we used to work on ceramic membranes. Back in the days, ceramic membranes was something which was proving to be very useful in terms of their resistance to chemicals, strength, backflushing, etc. In those days, it was an exciting technology coming up in the world. So I actually built pilot plants.
Excellent.
Using membranes for making cleaning arsenic from water.
During your master or?
No, during my job as a scientist.
As a scientist in this glass ceramic center.
Yes.
Very interesting.
It's like a national labs, like CSIRO. And I was fortunate to be, initiated into membrane science and membrane technology in particular when I was working there. And it turns out that in one of the meetings, membrane meetings, I got to meet a very famous professor in membrane science, Professor Dibakar Bhattacharya, DB. He's well known in the community as a leading membrane researcher, a veteran in the field. And he invited me, said, "Why don't you come and do a PhD?"
And he was in a state or is in India?
He was in the United States.
Okay.
He was in the United States, and he recruited me essentially, saying, "Look, Mainak, why don't you come and work towards a PhD at the University of Kentucky?" And it turns out that I was looking for opportunities to move forward my career, and this interaction took place sometime in 2002, I think, and then in a year's time, I was offered a scholarship, full scholarship at the University of Kentucky. And University of Kentucky is a smallish university, but it has two major areas of research which I was most excited about. One was carbon materials. It had called a very well regarded center at University of Kentucky. It is well known in carbon science. And the other aspect was membrane science. So essentially, I wanted to work in both these areas together.
Okay.
So with that scholarship, I left India and went to do a PhD at the University of Kentucky with Professor Bruce Hines.
It wasn't with ZB.
No, he recruited me.
Okay.
That's a good point, actually. And we had a discussion, and he felt, because of my material science background, he felt that I should choose a project which aligns with materials rather than a project which was very chemical engineering oriented. So with that background, I actually joined Professor Bruce Hines' group. And I still remember, when the offer letter came, I asked him at least 15 questions uh, over email.
Mm.
And I said, if you answer me these questions, I will join your group.
Technically, you interview him.
Pretty much, that's what he says. That's what he
Very
says.
interesting story.
Yeah. And then he essentially sent me a draft of a paper he was putting together at the time. It was on carbon nanotube membranes. I'm sure you're familiar with that. At that time, it was a very exciting area. New frontiers were broken in that area. So I was lucky, actually, very lucky, um, that I chose a right project at the right time.
Mm.
I think I just felt that that was where new things would happen, new frontiers would be broken. So I took up that offer.
Mm.
Um, and I started at Kentucky, I think in 2003. Um, 2003, I started my PhD over there. And, that project on aniline carbon nanotube membranes was fascinating at the time simply because there were only handful of groups who knew how to make the membranes.
Mm.
And that means that the studies were very pioneering.
Mm.
So I started my PhD over there in 2003, did some quite cool work over there, including the discovery of fast water transport in nanotubes.
Mhm.
And then after my finishing my PhD in 2007, I started a postdoctoral position in Rice University after
Ah,
that.
okay. Mhm.
And I think the experience in carbon materials and carbon science helped me to get that postdoc position.
Mhm.
So I spent about 2 years there uh, from 2008 to 2010, worked with two famous professors. One of them was Professor Matteo Pasquali,
Mhm.
uh, and then another was Professor Pulikala Jayan.
Mhm.
Both are very renowned in their fields. But I took a departure from membrane science. With Matteo, I started to look at fluid physics for coatings,
Mhm.
more non-Newtonian fluid mechanics, and things like that. And that was a bit of I would say, a learning curve for me,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
but something which I think I'm happy I did that because it opened a new avenues of research for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I guess I finished my PhD, postdoc in about 2009, and then I started applying for jobs. Monash was very interested in offering me a position, so I came here in 2010.
2010. Mhm.
Yeah,
As
in,
a
as a lecturer, I think. Yeah,
lecturer. Okay.
yeah. And then I think I established my group here, research group. I became a professor in 2018, so relatively quickly rose to the ranks. But that's it. And then I'm stuck at Monash for the last 15 years. Become a part of the furniture of engineering.
Look, Mainak, I think we know you're one of the most pioneers with a lot of fantastic idea. I think I know when you just quickly went through your bio, I just can connect the dots, the carbon and membrane, and later on become these you know, I think it was pneumatic and other sort of startups, I guess.
Yep.
I know you're heavily involved in that type of a startup cultures, entrepreneurship, and conscious of time. I just want to quickly touch on that experience because a lot of people, including myself, it was always a question for us how we can balance
Mm,
between academic and our life. And now you have another angle of
mm,
entrepreneurship
mhm.
and because entrepreneurship
Yeah.
meaning that you have to develop business. What can you quickly cover this a little bit and also the advice for people who are interested to go that direction?
Yeah. So look, I was always excited about wanting to see some of the discoveries we in the lab make it to the real life. Like that was something I am very passionate about, and uh, and that is why I choose my projects a bit carefully.
Mm,
I think I try to think about what is the end game,
mm-hmm,
where it would lead to if I'm able to solve this problem.
mm-hmm,
It's actually very important in this regard. I mean, you know, I think along the journey you solve a lot of deep scientific questions, but you do have to have a vision what this will lead to where,
Mm,
right? And that would start probably at the design stage of the project when you first start the experiments in the lab.
hmm.
Right? We need to have a clear idea where it's going to.
Yeah,
So if
from
you
the get
have that,
going, you have to have a vision.
you have to have the vision. I wouldn't say the plan and the path may change
Hmm.
depending on who you meet, who you interact, what's the market, who are the customers. So that may change, but you have to have a long-term vision of what you're doing and where you want it to be seen. So I think in all my cases of entrepreneurship, once I had that vision, I could find people who
Hmm.
would be aligning with
Hmm.
the vision,
Love that.
right? Um, I think with pneumatic, once we had a breakthrough paper in Nature.com, we patented the work. We
I read
realized
that.
that it is very scalable. And then your dialogue with industry partners becomes very different. You're saying, hey, look, I have de-risked the project. The language
Hmm.
is different when you go to, commercial people. They will not just take science for science facts, right? They would
Hmm.
want to see return on investment, no, or at least a pathway to return on investment.
Hmm.
So I think that is how we were able to, I guess, secure support from industry and investors,
Hmm.
both of them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so look, so I think as young academics who are starting up, I think have a idea about what you want to achieve with your work.
Correct.
And another point I also always think about is scalability, because sometimes in our membrane community, we tend to overlook that aspect. And I was talking to Benny Freeman a few days ago, and he said, "Look, Mainak, in gas separation membranes or anything, what you're doing, science is good, but if you look at the commercial world, only a few different polymers have been ever commercialized.
Mm.
And
True.
the question is, innovation is important, science is important, but at the end of the day, manufacturability has to be thought about actually, whether you can actually produce them in scale.
Hmm.
So, something to think about for the scientists, young
Hmm.
scientists.
Hmm. Hmm. Very interesting. I think what we see from you, we always see your achievements, but definitely there was always some failures that helped you get experience. It's just to what extent we need to have that resilience, tolerating the pressure, and having that type of work-life balance, pushing teams forwards and achieving the vision that you just mentioned.
I think uh, the point is that vision, I would say, strong ideas loosely held
Hmm.
is what I believe in. Your idea has to be strong, but you have to be able to accommodate uh, circumstances, changes,
Hmm.
and you can't be rigid with the methods. You have to be flexible,
Hmm.
and you have to enjoy that challenge. I think.
Hmm.
Um, Look, I don't think it is resilience as such as me, and it is all about overcoming problems. We are engineers, right? We know how to, you know, if you have a stumbling block, we can find a way around it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think that is how I have solved most of the problems, if I may
Yeah.
say so.
Yeah.
You know, if there is a bottleneck, I'm sure there is a way around it. So
Hmm.
never give up, with your ideas. It's there. You just have to
There
find
is
a way.
always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I can switch the gear. You were very successful in securing a lot of funds from ARC, from industries, hubs. I know you are
Yeah.
director of the AM2DD, AM2D. A lot of success in securing public funds slash industry funds. And how do EC or MCR can get to that level of achievement and success in securing funds, because funds for research is blood. So you need to constantly provide fresh blood to your team.
Yeah. So I think you have to be aware of what is going around you. What are the cutting edge areas of research? What is the dialogue in the community? What is the dialogue in the government? What are the most relevant areas of research, right? You know, and you may have all the skills, but you have to also pivot
Hmm.
to the rules of the game, if I may say so.
Hmm.
It is
Hmm.
important to pivot at different stages of your career. Uh, some things are very fundable maybe 10 years ago, which is not fundable now, won't get funded.
Correct.
So that situational awareness or awareness of what is going on in the world is
Mm.
very important for ECRs and MCRs to see and feel around you. Because sometimes what happens in a PhD, you're so narrow, it's just one focus, right? You can't think beyond it.
Hmm.
Um, and that is something I would watch against
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
ECRs. You have to learn to expand not only depth but width, because some days some projects are fundable, and 5 years later may not be.
Yeah,
So
great.
timing is also important.
So look, some people are saying that the in getting beyond a certain level of success, you need to have a sort of genetic related charisma, or you need to develop charisma. You need to be sort of people person. You need to be able to communicate.
Yes.
To what extent this thing was important in your success?
Yeah. So speaking of which, look, a lot of the projects or funding I have generated are based on relationship with industry,
Hmm.
right? So,
Which is the hardest part, because
which is the
you need to
hardest part.
convince
So,
them.
I agree with that. And that is something I feel it's inherent. Either you are able to convince people or you're not. But you
Hmm.
can still try. Everybody has a way to do that. I think before you go to convince anyone, you need to first question yourself, can I convince myself?
That's a very good important.
First convince yourself. Can you convince yourself that if you are in his shoes, would you fund the research? If the answer is no, then maybe you need to rethink what you're going to say. And the other thing is, sustaining the relationship is important. You have to. It's a give and take. You have to provide them something. You have to look after them.
Hmm.
For example, with the companies I work with, I provide them with numerous contacts, venture funds, et cetera, innovation funds. So I do provide them more than what I get from them in general.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have to be a bit generous in how you develop the partnerships, and then you can sustain it for a long time.
Hmm. Hmm. Very important point. I mean, I love the phrase that you have to be able to convince yourself. And if you
Yeah.
can convince yourself, therefore, you have a fortress around your concept, and you can, yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, Mainak, I think there is a lot of these days. It's getting ongoing position in universities getting harder and
Mhm.
harder with the current landscape.
Right.
And I see there is a lot of talents that they wanted to get into their system. They wanted to be professor. They want to contribute to the
Mhm.
academic life. What would be the best way for them with with the current situation in the industry, in the education industry, national and international, but particularly in Australia? What would be the best way for them
Yeah.
to achieve that sort of to secure that type of position?
So look, I'm always an odds person, right? I look at the odds, right? Um, if you look at Australia, yes, there are uh, few opportunities, few and far between. The economy is kind of not the most the growing economies of the world. Um, So that means that it will be reflected upon the number of job opportunities that come around, right? Of course, it offers a really good quality of life, and that is what probably people prefer. But I think when I was looking for positions, I was in the United States. I never knew Australia, right? You know, who
Wow.
knows? So my 2 cents would be do not restrict yourself geographically,
Mm-hmm.
um, and look for options everywhere in the world, wherever you feel that there is a chance of, you know, securing a position. Now, of course, you balance it out. When I was applying, I got offers from a bunch of universities, one university in the US, one in India, and one in Australia. Right now, what did I choose? I chose Australia. Uh, so then you can make a decision. But I mean, there are jobs everywhere, but you have to be open. You have to be
Correct.
you don't want to restrict yourself to one particular geographical locations. So one of my students, just Indian student, of course, he has a job in a private university in India.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I had to say, you need to go and find a job in India. This is a booming country. There's a
Yes.
lot of opportunities. Go, don't spend your time here. I had to
Correct.
kind of say, in his face, like, don't waste your time.
Yeah,
And he's
exactly
happy now.
true.
So I think, because it doesn't matter which part of the world you are in academia, it doesn't matter as much. As long as you are able to build the system, build the innovation around you, you should be successful.
100%.
So, yeah,
Before I get to the rapid fire question,
oh my God.
so there is another. So I can see in 2003 afterwards, you've been involved in membrane. So from
Yeah,
the Galas
yeah,
Ceramic Center
yeah.
in India all the way to Kentucky in a state, and then joining Monash. And so, and as you, because I know your profile very well, you've been involved in many different types of membrane processes.
Yeah.
Where do you think the next niche would be in membrane technology, science slash technology?
So, very good question. Now, I kind of have a relative idea about the water business and resource recovery business.
Mm-hmm.
And the scale of it is very large, actually, right? And that means that it is very conservative,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, if I would put my 2 cents in, I think the next revolution in membranes would come in batteries,
Batteries as a separator.
separator. Even for flow batteries, you need
Mm-hmm.
batteries, membranes, which can solve the issues in a flow battery. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think in all these cases, the next important thing is Nafion-free membranes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fluorine-free membranes. So these are the challenge of the next gen. Pick up those
Mm-hmm.
areas. If you can develop something, then you can pursue it actually more
Mm-hmm.
strongly. So I don't know. I would say in general, the water industry is very conservative, right? You have to get that. They would rather use something which is known and established, buy it and use it, right? In
Correct.
membrane processes. But if you're talking about new materials or new membranes, then potentially I think you have a better chance in energy area, fuel
Mm-hmm.
cells, membrane. Those kind of areas are where I think you have
Mm-hmm.
a bigger chance of having an impact with innovation for
Mm-hmm.
innovation.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thanks a lot. All right. So rapid fire question: coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. If you have an option to stay the rest of your life in just one city, anywhere in the world, where would be that city
San Francisco.
and state?
Yeah.
And the last question, if you have an option to go back to your 25 years younger version and you have to choose another profession than academia, what would be that profession?
Potentially entrepreneur.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Professor Mainak Majumder. It's really great to have you always, and we really enjoyed talking to you. And also, I'm pretty sure the membrane community will have a lot of interest in this interview, and we'll learn a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Amir. It was really a fun to talk to you.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Amir. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.